Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another 3v3 fastest map on Starcraft Brood Wars Remastered. This is going to be sort of a special presentation today as I get to the end of my replay archive. We're going to go ahead and do a 3-game set. All of these games feature Abyssal Minstrel, as you see over here in the corner. If you've watched other games that I've cast before, I've told the story that me and him used to play way back in the day. As you see, this game, this first game that he is in is from 2018. He was the one that kind of inspired me to start watching replays and seeing different people's gameplays, which started me archiving replays, which ultimately led to me streaming them on this channel in this playlist for all of you. So I want to just go ahead and give him a little bit of a tribute. So I have 3 replays set up that he was in. And we're going to watch all of them today in this replay, and probably take a little bit of a break in between game number 2 and 3. But we're going to go ahead and get through all of them today to pay a little tribute to the man who helped start it all. That being said, also, if you have any replays from StarCraft that you think are great, please get in touch with me in some way and send them my way. I would love to cast them, or at least look at them and see if there's something interesting to put on this page. So yeah, if you have something, get in contact with me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first replay of our 3 replay set, which is replay number 115. Again, from September 13th of 2018. We have 4 Terran and 2 Zerg, no Protoss, which is very rare in 3v3 fastest map. So let's go ahead and jump into this first game and see what we've got. Again, I'm not in this game, but Abyssal Minstrel is, so this is one that I watched him play way back in the day. But let's go ahead and introduce the teams. In the top right corner, team number 1, Coma King, the brown Zerg. And then across the way in the middle left, we got Abyssal Minstrel, the purple Terran. And then all the way in the bottom right corner, we've got Ralphie88, the yellow Terran. So all by his lonesome down there. Let's check out team number 2. In the top left corner, we've got Diased, Diased, the blue Zerg. Then right next to him in the middle top is Open, the teal Terran, who just left the game randomly for no reason. All right. We're off to a fantastic start. And then over here in the middle right is the other member of team number 2, and the only other member of team number 2 now. And he is Dookie Kiem Vien, the white Terran. So I'm actually pretty intrigued now what's going to happen, because this is a 3v2, but this game is 16 minutes long. So I'm interested to see what these 2 guys do. Again, we've got a blue Zerg and a white Terran here, going 3v2 immediately against a Zerg Terran. So let's go ahead while we check out Ralphie and what he's doing to start. Let's check out the APM. As we see, white is up at 150 APM, so he is at the top right now, and then everyone else hovering pretty close to around 80 or 90. So it actually looks like team number 2 maybe a little bit quicker on the draw, so maybe that'll be their sort of saving grace. But we'll end up seeing what happens. Let's just slow this down for a minute and see what everyone's doing. As we see, purple going ahead and getting a front defense. Pretty standard, with a little bit of a pathway for some units to get out. At least Marines can. Blue over here, he is getting his Hydralisk Den up pretty early. It has 3 hatcheries there. Pretty standard opening. You'd like to see maybe some sunken colonies there. We'll see if he ends up doing that. And then brown over here, he has the Sunkens, as well as getting a few hatcheries up. Looks like blue's a little bit ahead of him in terms of what he's got up already. And then white over here, a couple of barracks, a bunker, some Marines are scattered around. He's getting another command center and getting ready to macro up. I think if you're team number 1, you want to put a little bit of pressure on right now. I don't know if you're 3v2, especially against the Terran. Well, actually, against either one of them would be really, really good. I don't think letting them get stronger is, a benefit. So we'll see what ends up happening here. We'll go ahead and speed things up because it seems like this is going to be a little bit of a slow opening. White now thinking about getting some kind of front defense going. He's getting a couple of supply depots there to sort of narrow this walkway in case people decide to start coming in. He's got a few medics. Or just one medic, but another one coming. So that could be really helpful. Purple over here, 4 barracks, just sort of pumping out units. He's got a few barracks for defense here. Blue continuing to macro up and really getting a chance to do so. Brown over here, again, doing the same thing, but a step, I think, behind Blue. Actually, Blue doesn't have a lair yet, so that should be good. All right, here comes the first attack. Yellow deciding to come in on White. He's got a lot of Marines and a few medics to help with this, but with the repairing SCVs, this is not going to probably go too terribly well for Yellow. So again, if you're not focusing firing these SCVs, they're just going to continue healing this. That's what's happening. It's really hard in the heat of battle, especially when you're probably trying to go back to base and get more units going. So White doing a pretty good job of holding here. Repair for the win. Alright, he's got all of these SCVs repairing this thing. I don't know why they're not attacking the SCVs. So again, the focus fire would be very important there. Did look like he had enough units to maybe break through that, but again, the guy, look at how many SCVs he had devoted to that cause, plus a few medics. He's got a factory up. Do we see a factory coming up from Purple? No. So again, it seems like team number 1 is just sort of a step behind this team number 2, and now we have a big group of Hydralisks coming out, the first grouping there. Brown, again, getting his infrastructure going, but a step behind perhaps. He's doing a good job of getting upgrades. If we go ahead and look at the upgrade tab, we see Yellow and Purple getting some upgrades on their Marines, as well as range on their Marines. You see Brown is getting his Hydralisks upgraded. Blue's just got a bunch of them out, and then White getting stim pack and infantry weapons. Now Blue is deciding to attack Brown. Brown, again, a step behind, is not quite prepared for this assault. And there's 1-1s on the Hydralisks. Alright, now with those, I think with the Sunkens and the Hydros, yeah, that might be really good pull out there by Blue. So again, he's sort of microing and being a little bit smarter with what he's doing. Alright, they might be able to take out this Sunken colony here and then get on top of the tech. Oh, it'd be bad if he was able to get a couple of these evolution chambers. And sort of hanging out in that corner, just doing so much damage. Brown having all kinds of trouble getting him cleared out. In the meantime, he's probably making more Hydralisks at home. He sure is. This is an incredible play by team number 2. They're doing such a good job. Again, Yellow is trying... Oh, he's got these tanks coming in and confusing the units. This is a time where you really got to take control of your units and start pushing. Because Brown just really sort of took a hit there. So those tanks are making all kinds of issues for the Terrans. Alright, here comes this tank. I think he's trying to bring a tank up towards... I don't know what he was doing with that one. He just sort of sent a tank out. Alright, here comes the next big grouping of Hydralisks. So they're going to fight these Marines first. The Marines do have infantry weapons up, but they're not going to be able to do much anything. I don't know why at this point you try to run them away. He's running to Yellow. He's just trying to macro up. He's getting a bunch of tanks out. So this is when the Terrans could look a little bit more dangerous. And again, why don't you have tanks up here, Abyssal Minstrel? This could be a dangerous assault. And he doesn't have any SCVs up here to heal or repair the facilities. Alright, so he does back out, even though if he probably pushed that, he might have been able to get it. Not enough tank support there. Yellow coming in now to sort of support. But he's going to be pushed away by these Hydralisks. And he's not even going for any kind of armor on them. He's just going for 2 weapons on them. Alright, Yellow now starting to get out tanks. He looks like he wants to start dropping. Oh my goodness, look at this. I didn't even see this happening. He goes inside White's base with a ton of fire bats here. He probably has enough at this point to run in with them. I don't know what he's waiting for. What a tricky little play. I don't quite understand what he's waiting for. He's got so many of them. Alright, here he goes with them. This is so many fire bats. He's got it pretty well blocked off, but... Oh, he sees it. Alright, so he sees it. He's trying to defend against it. Start shooting, Tex! Alright, the fire bats! It's a fire bat party. They're trying to get in on top of... Oh, they're trying to go for the command center. Alright, so he's catching them off guard. And when the SCVs come in, they're going to get attacked by the fire bats. What a play by Yellow! Oh my goodness, that is crazy. I cannot believe how many fire bats were down there. I totally missed that happening. Oh, that is just devastating for White. He does have this other command center here. But that's going to put him back all, like, really, really far back and put him in all sorts of trouble. Looks like he was trying to help with sieging Purple, but took that damage in the meantime. Here's more fire bats just coming to take out these tanks. Oh, fire bats, man. I just love fire bats. They're so fun. And look at them getting on top of these tanks, doing a pretty good amount of damage. Took out one, finally got the other. Here comes White with a couple of tanks. Better drop them soon, Tex. Alright, he gets it. He's setting up siege. He gets it before those tanks do, so he'll get a couple shots on them. I don't know if this is going to work out quite like he had hoped. Yeah, this one's got repairs going on it. Yep, and there. That one's down. Still in all sorts of trouble, and these barracks are still down here pumping out fire bats. He's still trying to do tank drops up there. Ralphie is really doing a great job here. Alright, in the meantime, White and Blue are continuing to push in on Purple. Brown trying to break out of this lurker hold. Oh wait, never mind. Those are Brown's lurkers. That tank is still just causing all sorts of issues. Although, I'd be worried right now if you're drawing units in. Here comes Yellow with more dropping. Brown now with a ton of Hydralisk. This is probably where this is going to end. But a really good job in a 2v3. Holding off these guys for a long time. Alright, so Blue's still trying to make some things happen. But I don't think he has quite enough hatcheries to really like start pumping things out in a meaningful way. I can't believe this play. That's so crazy. He waited for so long with so many fire bats to make that play. And I really do like he was determined to get in on that command center, and that really changed, like, really blew open the game. Alright, here is Yellow now attacking White from above. That is so smart. Man, this guy is like systematically just destroying White. And in the meantime, Purple, who's getting pushed in on, all he has to do is hold on. White's still trying to keep the pressure on him, but I don't think it's really going to matter. He tries to stim out some Marines to put damage on these things. He does get one tank. That'll be very helpful. Here comes Blue. I like how he sends a few Hydralisks in. Oh, that Lurker, though. I thought he was going to try to bury that Lurker with Hydralisk support, but it didn't work. Alright, here comes Yellow. White continuing to try to stabilize, but now he's bringing even more barracks up here. Pretty hilarious gameplay by Yellow. Very effective, though. Alright, so again, here's some Wraiths to take out the Vision. Really good job, again, by Purple to just hang in there. I mean, he's sort of slowly and steadily getting picked apart here. But it doesn't matter because it's left Yellow to just be able to do whatever he wants. And unfortunately, I don't think Blue can win on his own. Ooh, we've got a nuclear launch detected somewhere. I don't see where that's happening. In the meantime, Yellow coming up to do a big drop on Blue. He's very insistent on getting to a certain place in the on his opponent's map. And he's sort of costing him. Like, these are well placed in the corner here, but this guy had all the time in the world to see it and try to do something about it. Oh, and here comes Brown right behind it with a big Zergling and Hydralisk drop. Drops it right on top of Blue. And he's got lurkers, but they're going to be able to be taken out because they can be seen. We should do a fair amount of damage to these Zerglings and Hydralisk, though. So another drop that sort of was placed in the bad spot and didn't really do too much. I think now he's sending units up just, through the main gateway. And Blue's going to try to come back and save himself, but this looks like it might be a little bit too much. He's even in upgrades now with Brown, where he was behind before, and then here comes Yellow with more units. Actually, these are just decoys. Alright. Looks like Blue actually is going to be able to clear this out. Wow, good job. They're being a little too cheeky with like all these drops, and I think they could just sort of bowl their way down the middle and win, but they're not interested in doing that. Anyways, here's another big drop from Brown. These lurkers are still all over the place though and doing all kinds of damage. Alright, he took out most of them. I think this may be all she wrote. Yep, White finally decides to tap out, and Blue is not too far behind him. And what a job by Yellow and Brown, really, at the end of that game. And then, again, Purple, not the best game I've ever seen from Abyssal Minstrel, but he held in there. And that's all he had to do because they were putting so much pressure on him. They really left Yellow and Brown alone, and that was a grand mistake. Alright, so that's replay number 1 in the books. Not a bad one, actually. I thought that one was pretty interesting. I loved Ralphie88's approach to that game. A lot of units made. Again, Yellow and Brown just sort of dominated. If you look at this game just as a whole, Yellow, Brown were just all over it. Fingerprints all over that game. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into replay number 2350. This is a 4 versus 4. Again, we got 4 Protoss, 1 Terran, 3 Zerg. This is also Abyssal Minstrel, a game, again, that I was not in. I remember this one. This one does not last very long. I think one team dominates the other, but I can't remember which one. I think I've probably peaked this game before. Not as exciting as you would like to see from like a giant 4v4 game, but there's always stuff that we can learn from games, so let's see what we can learn from this one. The first thing we got to learn is that there are a lot of people to introduce here, so let's go ahead and start with it. Alright, team number 1 in the top left corner, we have got Abyssal Minstrel, the yellow Terran. On his team, in the middle left, we have got Jimbo, the purple Protoss. All the way in the bottom right, we've got Rockwater, the orange Zerg. And then over here in the bottom right corner, we've got Dragnon123, the brown Zerg. So at least one of each race on that team. We'll see if the other team is well balanced. Team number 2, in the top left corner, we've got Joel Caravantes, the teal Protoss. In the top right corner, we've got Starfenix02, the white Protoss. In the middle right, we've got J.A. Mikes, the red Zerg. And then all the way in the bottom left corner, we've got K-Rick123, the blue Protoss. So it looks like 2 Protoss, 2 Zerg. And the other team has one of each race, I believe, and then they double up somewhere else. They got Protoss, Zerg, Zerg. So it's Protoss, Zerg, Zerg, Terran versus Zerg, Zerg, Protoss, Protoss. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if there's any early action on the map in terms of rushing. I'd be really surprised if we didn't see some kind of cannon rush with 4 Zerg or Protoss in the game. And it being a 4v4, there's just so many opportunities to do it. You see Brown sort of building a weird start, like a line here. You don't usually see stuff like that. Yellow getting the bunker right at home and getting a few barracks and places to stop rushes. we see this guy going for some early economy and getting some cannons pretty far up at his choke point. And then purple getting his economy going, getting gas early. We could see air from purple if he lasts that long. And then orange down here. Pretty standard looking build from orange. Brown. Pretty standard looking, a little bit wide open here with going with so many hatcheries instead of defense, but he's got a couple. And then blue down here. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. Sorry. See what he's doing. Alright, he's getting a couple of gateways behind his nexus. Again, it's sort of interesting placement of them. People have been doing some interesting builds to start this game. Alright, so we're seeing purple. Pretty standard. Again, getting a cybernetics core. So this looks like a slower start to this game. We'll go ahead and speed things up just a little bit while we see what's going to happen. Alright, teal. Building up that front defense. Really going for economy early on. And some safety. White building a fancy looking base. Also looking to macro up. Red. A lot of defense there. I like the way that red's building probably the most of all the Zerg. This guy macroing up, getting evolution chamber. This guy's just getting a lair. Still not seeing a lot of units on the base, or on the map. People building pretty defensively. People seem pretty happy to just wait and do something later. Looks like we're going to see some drops from purple, so we'll keep an eye on those. A lot of tech coming up from teal. Yellow, just 3 bunk barrackses. We would love to see a factory coming up. There it is. White. Still just a weird looking build from white. Only 3 gateways as well. Alright, we've got red down here. So we're just waiting for something to happen here. Alright, this drop is probably going to be the first thing that really occurs. So we'll keep our eye on purple. I'm looking at the minimap. I'm just not seeing anyone posture in any way. So it looks like this is going to be the beginning of the game. Is purple going to drop on someone? Yeah, I'm looking at the minimap and I see brown moving things around, but that's just overlords. No one else really doing much of anything. These drop looks ready to go. He's got 2 in each. Looks like he's going to try to go for teal. Should work out pretty well. He has defense, but if he sort of makes his way safely up to this area, should be able to do it. The upgrade's sort of blocking this. Oh, don't go too far up and get greedy. Alright, he does drop them, but he drops them in danger. And now they're not going for the... Oh, he does get 1 shot. But now he's sort of like trying to get them out. Oh, this was not the best looking drop in the world from purple. Does knock him down to 19 workers, which is good. If you look at, man, some of the worker counts are crazy at the beginning here. 59 for Jimbo, who just did that drop. So he does hurt teal's economy a little bit, but not as much as he probably could have if he did that a little bit smarter. I think 60 workers from brown. It's sort of interesting looking at the worker count because you see there's just a huge disparity in some of the people. Like yellow, Abyssal Minstrel only with 37, Jimbo with 62, then 26 for Rockwater down here in the corner. He's going with a little bit of a Mutalist rush here. So again, he's going for a little bit less because he's trying to rush with these Mutalists, and this guy's got nothing but Zealots. He does have a few cannons, but they're not anything that are going to be able to help him right away. Here comes red to help out with this attack. They're trying to just sort of go in the corner. In the meantime, orange retreats from that, which I don't quite know why. Especially, oh, okay. Red was not a friend. All right, so orange backs out. But again, looking at the worker count, 32, 31 now for teal, who just lost, and 27 for white. Yeah, white seems like, I don't know, he's playing an interesting game. All right, here they are, pushing in on yellow. We see, oh no, the Dark Templar for teal are going to make a big difference here. I don't know if he has a Comstat station. He does. He uses it. It might be enough to get rid of all those Dark Templar, but there's a lot of them coming in. He's going to need 2 shots, and it doesn't matter because White came in with all of his units. He does have some upgrades. All right, here comes the reinforcements for Yellow, but again, there's cloaked units. Is he going to be able to take them out? I think they are close enough to this missile turret that they're getting taken out. Yellow is really holding strong here. All right, now Orange finally decides to come in, and Brown, to try to help him out. He's going with a lot of vultures early on to try to help himself. All right, so they are able to support him. Here comes Purple with another drop. He's trying to, get it in the right place. Here he is on Red, thinking, where can I drop these without getting attacked? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just drop them anyways. All right, this is a little bit more significant of a drop with some Dragoons in there to suck up some of this damage. Oh, this is really bad for Red. In the meantime, Brown and Orange are taking out their anger on White. White, with a sort of strange build, almost like computer-like, is looking like he's going to be in a lot of trouble here. He does have a few Dark Templar on the field. Red, all the way down to 8 workers. Here comes Purple up on White. White does have 1 turret or cannon at home, but not much. I don't know why you waste your time coming up here, because he's already dead. It's just sort of insult to injury here. I've not been wildly impressed with Jim Bob's dropping. He's done okay, but he's been a little bit overly cautious and overly trying to get to where he wants to be. Alright, so this looks like this is it for White. So with Red and White severely compromised, this could be a really, really bad thing for team number 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. You see Teal's over here. He's sort of hung in there, but White now is basically dead. He is fighting with these Dark Templar and doing a pretty good job of clearing the board, but Red leaves because he couldn't recover from that. I mean, look at all these hatcheries he had. He just gives up. I think he probably could have hung in there. All right, then the other member is Blue. Now, Blue's down here with a pretty good defense, but he doesn't have enough, I think, production facilities or any kind of army to really defend himself. White did end up being able to fight off those people with Dark Templar. In the meantime, he's trying to kill Purple, who's still up there in the middle of his base. Yellow did a really good job holding against that initial assault, and now he's looking pretty strong with a lot of units. Starting to get a bunch of factories up. Now he's attacking that front defense that Teal had. That is not a good look for Teal. And now here comes Brown. Again, Brown with 78 workers. Just absolute monster economy. Totally maxed out. This guy really just, again, it's the same lesson that we've learned in every single StarCraft game that we've played in 3v3, 2v2, or 4v4. You can't let a Zerg just sit there uncontested. Really, you can't let anyone sit there uncontested in any way. You've got to just, like, at least give them something to think about, or they can just build to this. I mean, look at how many Hydras are coming in. This is all from Brown. Just Brown. And we have another Zerg on our team, I believe. Yeah, Orange. So just look at the mini-map. It just looks like a giant brown smudge on the map. And here comes Abyssal Minstrel with all those tanks and all of those Marines to support this. And this is pretty much close to all she wrote. Carrick decides to leave now that the Guardians were coming in from the side from Orange. He just continues what he was doing there. And then Teal, he's not going to be too much. Looks like he's going to make them work for this win. A couple Dark Templar were there, and he finally taps out when the Dark Templar were out. And now White still trying to find some way to survive, but he taps out as well. What a game there! That was actually a little bit better than I thought it would be. Pretty dominant from team number 1 once they got going. Yeah, just a good job overall. I liked what Orange did, sort of harassing Blue early on. Purple, not the prettiest drops in the world, but they got the job done and kept the pressure on. I thought he was the first one to really do something, so I really appreciated what happened in that game. They did a good job not letting any one of those team number 1 members get strong. All right, we're looking at the unit board. We're seeing Brown really all over this. He did a really, really great job. All right, so that's 2 down. I'm actually feeling pretty good about moving into this next one. Next one is replay number 240. This is one with Abyssal Minstrel as well. Philosopher 3 is a guy we've seen in other games. High Sky Templar is a guy I think I've seen before as well. 16-minute game. 2 Zerg, 2 Protoss, and 2 Terran, so a little bit of every race represented. So I'm just going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to jump into this game right afterwards. So we'll be back in just a second. Alright folks, we are back and we're going to go ahead and jump into replay number 240. Alright. I don't know if this is the last replay with Abyssal Minstrel. I'm pretty sure it's not. But these are like the three main ones that I've had sort of laying around for a while that I wanted to show. So far in today's streaming, he's 1-1. So let's see if he can get to 2-1 in this game. So let's check out the teams. In the top right corner is our player of the replay. It is Abyssal Minstrel, the red Protoss. On his team, all the way in the bottom left corner, is KEQ BULBEQ. Not even going to pretend to try to say that. He is the blue Zerg. And then across the way in the bottom right corner is Philosopher 3, the purple Terran. So actually a Zerg Terran Protoss team, so that probably means the other team is the same. Let's check it out. In the top left corner, we've got Port 1012, the brown Terran. In the middle left, we've got High Sky Templar, the yellow Terran, or Protoss. And then in the bottom middle, we've got T-Swift X, the teal Zerg. So yes, it is Protoss Zerg Terran versus Protoss Zerg Terran. I love that matchup. Probably my favorite one of all. So let's go ahead and, as we speed things up here, let's check out the APM. As we see, blue down here in the bottom left corner is having the highest APM with just over 100, and then everyone else is pretty close to either 50 or 100. So we're seeing a little bit of a slower pace than you would usually see for some more developed players. I would say if we're looking at averages and who is the highest, it's pretty close. I would probably edge it to team number 1, but looks like it's going to be pretty standard all across the board. Alright, and here we go. Abyssal Minstrel does love the cannon rush, and he just could not help himself. Alright, here he comes with a cannon rush. We'll slow this down as we see the defense of it. Alright, so a couple of Zerglings up here to maybe do something. Purple actually here with some Marines to help this out. I don't know what is necessarily his plan there. Maybe to just give those... Alright, so this pylon's getting attacked. Maybe those cannons will be in range to support this. Alright, so early on, seeing a lot of pressure from the Terran. You could probably build a few more in this corner here. Again, sometimes going after the Zerg can be tough because they, that one's unpowered. Their creep sort of keeps them from, the cannons from being in a really, really dangerous position. Alright, so that did a little bit to slow down Teal. He had to build those Zerglings. He's only at 9 workers, where we see Abyssal Minstrel at 19. So that does, yeah, that does help you. So he does abandon that. He starts building some stuff at home. Does have a few zealots out. This guy's got Zerglings. Alright, so here they come with a counterattack. This is High Sky Templar with a lot of Zerglings, or a lot of zealots, and here come the Zerglings to support from T-Swift. He's getting these other Sunkens up, but will they get up in time? Alright, so he did prevent that one from coming up. Alright, so 4 Sunkens. Almost all these zealots are gone, but these Zerglings are doing a lot of damage to these sunken colonies. Another one pops up, and it's not going to be enough. Here comes purple to support blue, and he didn't need to. Alright, here comes more zealots. Oh, he's move commanding these Marines. Oh my gosh, and now he's just moving them away, and they're going to die. You've got to not move command your units if you're not paying attention to them. Losing them like that is so devastating. Alright, so he's walking down towards these Sunkens. Can you just sit on top of the Sunkens and maybe do some... Alright, so he's still just running around with these Marines. It is confusing some of these Zealots. Alright, so they've officially not been able to break there. Alright, here comes Red trying to box Teal in now. I like this play because Teal's going to have to focus on getting his economy going. And he's not going to be able to really do too much against this. I really love this pressure from Red, sort of boxing in this Zerg, not letting him get strong. In the meantime, your Zerg survived a lot of the early assaults. Alright, so red is getting to the point where he's not going to be able to be budged from this position. Yellow might be a little too late to the party here, especially with these Marines to help out. Oh my gosh, purple, where you attack with your units. Alright, he brought them into the cannon field, but they're right on top of the cannons. Here comes brown to support this as well. He's got a bunch of spider mines that he's bringing in. These vultures are certainly helping out. That was so foolish by red. He brought them into this cannon field and then allowed them to be destroyed when it was just about to be ready to box this guy in. Like, why don't you just attack with them and give red the time to get the cannons up? That was just silliness. Alright, in the meantime, yellow getting a lot of gateways. There's just a ton of factories here from brown. He's just pumping out vultures. I love the vultures play. I think that's something I'm going to try, like when I start playing again, after these replays are done, I'm going to really try to do vultures. Because look at them. They're really, really fast. They have spider mine capabilities. They can kite units in the early game. I mean, they're really, really strong. Alright, so now brown, with the vultures just sort of taking over the area, this is going to put purple in a really bad spot. Purple has just been foolish, but talk about a philosopher. He's over-philosophizing his units. Alright, so red now is in a lot of trouble because he put a lot of investment into the infrastructure around killing teal, and that all went down. So he's not going to have a ton of units. They're not upgraded. They don't have the speed yet. And you see teal getting a lot of upgrades, yellow getting his upgrades on his units. That's going to be really bad because yellow's got a lot of gateways. You do see increased Dragoon range coming in from red, so I imagine we'll start seeing some Dragoons soon once he gets his infrastructure, his economy going. In the meantime, purple is sort of boxed in because of these spider mines, but it's probably a good thing because he really needs to get himself going. Uh-oh, this is not looking good for blue. As he gets ready to macro up and get going, they put the pressure on him, and they know that that's the key to the game, is to keep blue not strong, and this is a scary looking army for blue to deal with no units coming up on the field. He does get a couple of hydralisks coming to support these sunken colonies. Oh, and a lurker pops up. That's huge as well. Oh, he's going for the lurkers instead. I think you just defend with the hydralisk, man. This is a big army that's coming at you, and you're just the only units you have to defend against it, you just immediately make, like, you know, you take away. Alright, if these lurkers come, he might be able to survive this, but there's still so many units coming his way. Again, purple just sort of sitting there. This is an interesting one. I don't really know. It seems like team number 2 is in the driver's seat, but they continue to be held at bay. Alright, here comes teal. He's sending in a bunch of Zerglings. He should be easily killed by the lurkers, although he does have the Overlord there. Red's got some units supporting him. He is getting Dragoons out. This guy's getting all the tanks, though, and this guy's just got so many gateways. Looks like he's making some more over here. Here comes purple. Some extra supportive units. Wonder, can they heal the lurkers while they're underground, the medics? Let's see if that happens. I don't know if that medic's going to detect it. He is healing up these zealots, though. I love seeing the medics heal the, like, other units on the field. I think it's just so funny. Look at this zealot getting healed up by the medic. Hilarious! Probably gonna run out of, yeah, he's pretty much run out of heal power. No, I didn't let him finish. Let's see if this guy tries to finish his work. Yes, he does. This medic is the hardest working medic in all of the galaxy. Alright, so in the meantime, while we watch this medic do his work, we've got Brown moving in the middle with a bunch of tanks. We do see a bunch of upgrades for vehicles coming up, even for purple. But brown getting in a really, really bad spot. Here comes teal with Hydralisk and Zerglings. Here comes yellow with all of his units. There's a huge bunch of tanks to stop any reinforcements that are going to come help with this. So this is pretty much all these units that are right here are all that's left to defend against this. And purple continues to just over micro his units and make them basically worthless. I don't know, why are you making them retreat? Like, just let them fight. They're just gonna die. They're gonna die anyways. You might as well let them die with honor. Come on, Philosopher. What are you doing, dude? I'm watching these Marines just, like, now they're sitting here doing nothing. They're not helping him defend at all. This guy does have 4 kills, though. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll watch this private and see if he can do anything. Alright, these Zerglings are doing a good job pushing back the mainly Dragoon army. Don't worry, they've still got this one Marine here that was microed to hell. Alright, oh man, all these Zerglings streaming in. There's still some lurkers hiding around there. This Marine barely doing anything. Oh, there he gets 2 more kills. Now he's doing something. Now he moves out to attack that Dragoon and dies. 6 kills though, pretty nice. Alright, yellow looks like he's sending in enough to kill blue. In the meantime, brown holding everyone off with his tanks. Man, this ended up being a very, very one-sided. Alright, here comes some carriers though. That might be able to help. Poor blue has just been assaulted all game and his partners have been completely cut off from him. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, to be quite honest. Continues to just try his very best, but he is just getting just endlessly assaulted. Alright, here comes Brown to really finish this off. All 3 of these guys coming in on them. Purple was really the lost sheep of this game. I mean, he really struggled with the over-microing of his Marines, of just not having enough production and movement in the game. He was just like very under-impressed with what he was able to accomplish. And now he's trying to do some kind of drop? I don't even know what's happening. Alright, anyways. Let's speed this up a little bit. So that's the end of blue. He taps out and leaves the game. Alright, so it's down to Philosopher and Abyssal Minstrel now. Unfortunately, it's looking like Abyssal Minstrel is going to go 1 and 2. He does have carriers now, so has a little bit of something to support himself. But brown, I mean, purple, what are you even doing? Like, you have no units. You have all these factories. You have upgrades on your mech, and you have no mech. Like, where's your mech? What are you doing? In the meantime, here comes the assault on red. We'll probably watch that one, because at least this might be a semi-interesting hold. With the carriers popping out. Alright, it's Dragoons, Zealots, and carriers with a few cannons mixed in here and there. Zealots should be really good against these Dragoons. Carriers just having trouble getting interceptors up with all these Dragoons firing. Here comes some Zerglings to make this even more difficult. Here's a Dragoon back here. Oh, all these units are right here. You should send those in. Anyways, carriers still trying to get units out. There's a few interceptors flying around, but not as many as you'd like. Here comes Brown with extra units, even though he's just also killing purple pretty much single-handedly. And that's probably pretty close to all she wrote. Yeah, you need some time for your carriers to get those interceptors going, or you're in all kinds of trouble. I think if he had had a few more seconds, he would have made this a little bit more difficult, but just got overwhelmed. Pretty one-sided affair there, but that was a pretty good trio of games. Saw a little bit of everything. But yeah, thanks for joining me. That was probably the last big marathon that I have. There's definitely a couple of much longer interesting looking games and a few other ones scattered here and there and everywhere. So I'm going to continue to get them out. But thanks for joining me for this one. Again, if you have any replays that you've been playing this game, please get in touch with me and send them my way. I would love to get them and see if there are ones that I would like to put on this page. But again, thanks for joining me. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you on the next replay.